How you doing, folks? This is Rex from the Buckeyenest. I met this really interesting gentleman at Tractor Supply last Friday, and he told me about this ceremony. Most of you know that today is Pearl Harbor D-Day, and we're going to do a little tribute to past veterans here. I'm going to record it, and you're going to get to see it if you're already looking at it. So in a minute or two here, we'll start this up.
Here. 73 years ago, in the early morning, the Japanese, Japanese made a sneak attack on Pearl Harbor. The destruction was unbearable, and we lost over 2,000 military personnel and civilians were killed. Hundreds of wounded. Our Pacific Fleet was badly damaged. The battleship Arizona was lying on the bottom with over 1,500 sailors aboard. It remains today as a memorial to those who gave their lives for freedom. And by the way, Seaman Mark Francis was on the Arizona from Champaign County. He was a cook. He was lost that day on the Arizona, and his body lies out this Oakdale in the first row, I think, right there in Soldier's Mound. Mark Francis. America quickly became, I just can't read that, but that's something. Oh, here we go. America quickly became prepared, and we put our nation to work to fund the military and to clear the Japanese from the Pacific. America quickly realigned, and the Japanese were going to be defeated. Boy, this is hard to read. Anyway, the Japanese were defeated, and lest we forget our fallen comrades, we'll never forget them. No, place a wreath here. Got the wreath here.
Clipboard for you? Let us have your clipboard.
Yeah.
Comrades, attention. Order, arm. And salute. Yes, sir.
without the Americans leading the way, we would have no doubt been two nations, just the East and the West. So when America got together, we prevented that from happening. It would have happened if it had not been for America. Remember that. Thank you all, and God bless America.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All righty. Yeah, thank you guys. And if it hadn't been for the United States, it would have happened. It would have. Yeah, if it hadn't been the United States, we'd have had two worlds, and we come just within a hair of having it done.
Bud,
Yeah.
I think that gentleman wants to talk to you about.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm just listening. I got the camera going and I'm just listening.
No.
I wanted to tell you, I recorded karaoke for many, many years up
Really?
in Cleveland.
Oh,
And there's a veteran up there, a World War II veteran. His
yeah,
name is Joe Tata. And he
yeah,
served in the United States Army,
yeah,
probably right alongside of you somewhere.
yeah.
And he was Japanese.
Oh,
And his family was being interned in the Japanese intern camps at the same time he was
oh my
serving
Lord.
there. You go up on the
And
website.
where did they get him at?
Well,
Where did they
you guys
get
gotta
him?
forgive me, my memory walks out on me sometimes, and I'm sure you guys know how that happens.
Probably in the Philippines someplace.
Yeah, he told me
Yeah.
stories of that, and,
Yeah.
he even told me a story, I think it was him about Normandy,
Yeah.
but, I thought I'd share that with you.
We went into New Guinea, and the ship that had a lot of our equipment on was sunk. And we get there, and we're there for about 2 months waiting for some new equipment.
Yeah,
And so we missed most of New Guinea. We had some, but then we went on up to, we went into invasion of Leyte, attacked Logan. If you remember here this summer when they had that terrible tsunami or whatever it was,
Yeah.
hurricane in the Philippines, and the town that was hit the most was Tacloban. And that's where MacArthur landed when he made his return to the Philippines. He fooled the Japanese. Instead of going down south and trying to take island by island, he went halfway up where Leyte had a beautiful harbor there, and that's where the first invasion was. So
Wow.
we went in there, and then we went on another LST and went up to, and they dropped into Luzon. That's the biggest island where Manila is, and that was the second landing. And we ended up on the west coast of Luzon. We had 4 platoons, signal platoons, combat signal platoons, and they spread all 4 of us the whole 200 and some mile of west coast of Luzon.
is that what you did, was communications
Yeah.
and combat
Sergeant-
signals?
Yeah, sergeant, chief radio operator. Had 8 radio operators. We used Morse code. We were stationed 50 some mile apart. No army or nothing near us. And we had Japanese who had Filipino guerrillas down at the bottom of the hill where our camp was, because damn mountains was back about 2 miles and they was up in there thick. MacArthur bypassed most of them, you see, not most of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
And Lord, we found out after the war was over, we laid there for about 5 months and doing nothing practically. And found out there was over 10,000 Japs up there in the mountains.
Waiting on you.
But they come down 2 at a time, 20 at a time, and rob those poor old Filipino farmers back there and kill their water buffalo and take chickens and kill them a lot of times. And we'd get word, but guys wasn't on duty, why they sent a squad of 6 infantry boys down, and we take them guerrillas and have to go up there, and we had orders not to follow them, just to let them know that they're gonna have to behave themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got trapped up there on patrol. We had about 3 weeks before they bombed it. Yeah, we had one of them deals. We got up in there, and the guerrillas was screwed up as to where the Japs were. Yeah, we got locked in, and they luckily we had a Filipino boy runner with us, and he ran back to the camp about a good mile, and told them we was trapped, and they put 50 caliber, not a 20 caliber. We had 4 machine gun, big guns, and in the ground, camouflaged and all, and they were water cooled. They put one of them on this Filipino ran back barefooted, of course, and told them what happened, and they loaded one of those guns in the back of a 2.5 tonner and come back through there, and luckily it was dry weather, and most of the land over there is for rice, you know, they flood those fields, and it was dry, and they could run the truck right on through them. They come back up in there and got up on the top of the ridge, and the Japs was back up in the cliff about 100 yards in front of us, and they started mowing them. Hell, they was cutting bamboo trees that big, cutting them right off, and the shells that big, and raised hell with them. I don't know how many we got there. They got, but the Japs took off and ran back in there, and that was the idea for us to do, is let them know that we wasn't gonna put up with that shit.
Did you
So
get everybody out okay?
The guerrillas went back up in there the next day, and they said they found about 15 or 20 dead ones up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was about 3 weeks before they dropped the bomb, and I thought, oh shit, that it can't happen. But it did. It was getting close to gonna be dark before long, and I thought, oh boy, how in the hell are we gonna? We got up to the top of this hill, and it wasn't nothing but grass and great big rocks. No trees at all, luckily for the rocks, because we got behind them. And they waited till we got about halfway down that hill, then they opened up on the cliff there, you see, back there at the jungle, and opened up on us, and all you could do was lay there and hope. But this Filipino boy, he got out and ran back in and saved our butt. I thought, man, if we'd have been there at night, wouldn't that have been something? Ooh.
You recall his name?
Yeah, Basilio. He was my best friend. In fact, when we were on the way up there, we went through the little fishing village, and I saw him, and I yelled to him, and he jumped on the side of the truck, and he was the only one from the fishing village allowed into our campsite.
Yeah.
Well, not particularly best. 2 of our platoons, like I said, was about 40, 50 mile apart, had mobile radar, those great big screens, and then of course ours wasn't. We were in contact with them all the time. So we had to monitor every aircraft going in or out over the China Sea towards Japan. And that was one of our main jobs. But yeah, he jumped on the truck and went on back up in there with us. And he's the one that ran out. Yeah, he was one of my buddies. And
is he still around today? Do you know?
No, he died. Yeah,
he did?
Yeah, he died. Yeah, he died. Those people were all sort of little, and I always thought he was a hell of a lot younger. And come find out, he was almost the same age as me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we wrote to his family and everything for years, and then it got, well, the communists are still pretty tough over there.
Yeah.
And they don't even recommend the people going there because of the communists in the country. But
I should go back in the car because I don't think I should be here.
what?
I'll go back in the car because I
You're
don't.
fine.
You're all
You're
right.
fine.
You're fine right here, ma'am.
You're all right. Just sit still, honey. Yeah,
Ma'am, you're a veteran too because you put up with this guy all these years.
Yeah.
That makes you a bigger veteran than the rest of us.
Yeah. How many years have we been married? 68?
be
70?
69.
69 years.
It'll be 70 in
In
February.
February, be 70 years.
Did you guys get married when you were in the military, sir?
Huh?
Pardon?
Did you meet him in the military?
No,
How did you meet
he
him?
wasn't in the military. Yeah, she wanted to join the nurse corps because her two brothers, one was in the Navy and the other in the Army, and then her parents wouldn't let her. She wanted to be a nurse.
I met a young lady yesterday at the Tractor Supply in Sydney. Her name was Jean Smith, and I have to verify this information, but she said she was a nurse in World War II in the
Yeah.
Army, and that she's the one that wrote that original letter, and it was called A Letter from a Soldier.
Yeah.
And I guess it made some pretty international news. And I meet a lot of neat people while I'm out working
Yeah.
around doing what I'm doing. I met Mr. Orr, and I've been around it a little bit doing different things for veterans organizations. But as soon as I get this verified,
Yeah.
then I'll publish it up on the internet.
Yeah,
And her
yeah.
story, the letters she wrote
Yeah,
too.
that's really interesting.
She was a sergeant. She said she made an E5, and that's as far as she went.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, our platoon or our unit was, you don't hear anything about them, you know, but I think we lost 3 or 4 out of our platoon, and our biggest problem was the bypass Japs. In fact, we always said we was ahead of the rest of the troops.
Yeah.
We was in enemy territory all the time. Yeah, we had the night before we got the guerrillas down at the bottom of the hill. They built old bamboo huts and shacks for them to stay in, and the Army fed them, and they did the dirty work. But it got so bad that we had wire fence all the way around our encampment with cans with gravel and that in them. You've heard of that. So if you hit them at night while they rattled, and yeah, it was pretty. Until we got the guerrillas, and we was there about 6 weeks before they got them to us. And then they took over that, you see, so it helped. We could get our work done, but without having to worry about somebody sneaking up behind you.
What years did you serve, sir?
I went in and graduated June the 5th from high school, and the 4th of November I was in the Army.
1945?
Yeah,
Okay.
44.
44.
Not 44. 42.
42.
Yeah, 42. And then I was discharged the day after Christmas, 1945. Camp Atterbury, Indiana.
I wasn't even thought of, guys. I didn't even come in your world till 55. So.
Yeah, they give us money for train tickets. And my buddy from Springfield, him and I, we flagged our ride home all the way. Got a guy going all the way to Springfield. Yeah, so we pocketed the train money.
Well, I won't publish that part. They may still hunt you down.
Yeah.
They come pounding on my door after I got out 6 months later and said, you signed out some infrared goggles and you didn't turn them in. And I said, well, wait a minute. I was a tank driver. I didn't have any reason for infrared goggles. I didn't sign out any infrared goggles, you know. So.
Yeah, we've got, like I say, our little outfit, no one heard of us, but we had a pretty important job. And yeah, we bought in 2 or 3 planes coming back from raids, you know. They was shot up and their instruments were screwed up, and we brought one in at night one time, and hell, he was half hour later than the other planes that came back, and they thought they'd lost him, and he was still back there, but the radio would go in and out, and we got information from the radar station, which was about 50 miles north of us. Our platoon up there had radar, and they picked him up, and of course we was in communication. And they brought him in, and he came almost right over our campsite.
Yeah.
Brought him in, yeah, and he went right into Clark Field. Yeah, and he came out, oh, I don't know, a few weeks later, come out and brought us a big box of, I don't know what kind of candy it was, and thanked us for bringing him in. Yeah, that was the highlight of it. Yeah. He said he'd have never made it. He pretty well shot up. He was wounded, but like he said, he got the thing stopped from bleeding, but he didn't know where he was or which direction or anything, and it was really rewarding to get something like that. Yeah, it was.
I gotta tell you guys a quick short story related to that. I worked law enforcement and security all my life after I got out of the military. And I was patrolling Concourse C up at Hopkins International Airport in Cleveland. And a little boy come up, and I was in a full uniform, and I worked for a company called Wackenhut Security at the time, but they've changed their name. But we wore Stetsons hats.
Yeah.
That's what separated us from the other security companies. And this little boy come up to me, and I'll never forget this. I was at jetway door number 5 on C Concourse, which was the Continental Airlines concourse, and he grabbed me on the elbow, because the whole concourse was full of people, and I was checking jetway doors to make sure they were still secured so nobody could come in from the outside, doing a perimeter patrol, which I'm sure we've all done something like that in our past. He says, "Sir," he says, "are you making sure there's no bad guys on those airplanes?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." He says, "That's good, because I got to get Mom and Dad home to Lithuania today in one piece." He was about 10 years old. And what is your name, ma'am?
Marjorie.
Margaret?
That's
I used to be a Buckeyenest.
Marjorie.
Marjorie Buckeyenest. Now I'm Kelch. All we have is 3 boys, no girls. We didn't want no girls.
No. No,
Well.
girls. Yeah.
I'm going to turn this camera off now, and I'm going to walk around this new facility here, because I want to tell everybody in the future about this place. Thank you for your service.
Okay.
And thank you, Margaret, for yours. For putting up with this guy. all
You
these
guys
years.
want to go out to Hortons and
I've gotta go away, I know that.